Good morning. Welcome to this React newsletter subscription service thing we're building. Sorry I haven't made any videos in like a year. It's been like a year, so just been very busy. I moved and just switched jobs recently. Um, Hanging out with my girlfriend a whole lot. So life has been very busy for me. So, but today we are back at it. I have a nice little, pretty much beginner level. It's a beginner level, React tutorial. Definitely aim towards those that are not super familiar with React. They've played around with it, but they're not an expert at it or anything. So today, um, we're going to be using um, uh, Create React app for our front end. This is probably the easiest way, in my opinion, to get a React app up and going very easily. So just come to the repo for create React app and follow the instructions on getting it installed. It's very simple, very straightforward, very easy. Um, so let's talk about um, first off, what we're building and what's going to happen here on the front end and the back end. So as I mentioned earlier, we're building this newsletter service. Front end is going to be create React app, as I mentioned earlier. It's going to be pretty much a simple page with a form. You put your email in the input box, and it shoots it off to MailChimp. So MailChimp is a very popular marketing automation software. You can build newsletters and all types of stuff here, campaigns, pretty much all that marketing stuff that I'm not an expert at. I'm a software guy, okay? Um, so as I mentioned earlier, we're using Create React app for our starter kit here. And then we're also going to be using something called Ant Design. I've never used this before. Actually, this is actually my first project I ever used Ant Design with. Typically, I use Semantic UI. That's my favorite one. I have used React Bootstrap. Um, it's pretty good. You can use whatever you want. Material UI, I've used that. I've played around with that. React Toolbox, which is also based on the Material UI spec. That one's also pretty good. So Foundation, use whatever you want. But I'm using Ant Design. I want to try something different today, so I went with Ant Design. Um, so what's gonna happen here? Let's get down to some of the details here. We're going to have an input box, and it's going to be making a call to a custom endpoint that we're going to create. And what are we going to use to fetch that data? We're using a library called XDOs here. This is my favorite like fetching library for my React projects. It's really good, and as you can see by the number of stars, it's pretty popular and widely used in the React community. Um, so we're going to use this. You can use whatever you want. You can use the pure fetch API. You can use. There's also a library out there called isomorphic fetch. That one's pretty good. I lean towards Axios. This is my default like fetching library that I use. So we're also using a little simple library to just validate the email because you don't want them just submitting some junk. So we're going to use the validator package. Very straightforward, very easy, and as you can see, it's pretty popular with you know well over 3 million downloads just in the last month. So we're going to use that. So that's the front end. Okay, so we're gonna have a little input box, and we're gonna use this little input component here from Ant Design. So we're gonna have a little input box that simply takes in the email, and we're gonna have a little function that'll take in that email and it'll make an Axios call to our endpoint. And the endpoint, our backend is going to be in node.js. You can use whatever you want, PHP, you can use Ruby on Rails, whatever you want to use, Python, whatever you want to use. I chose Node. I really like the Node stack. I love Node. So we're just going to use Node. Um, I've done this in PHP before with Slim PHP. I actually did it on my website. I used Slim routes. Uh, Very easy. Both ways, they're all very easy. Um, it's pretty straightforward. Um, I decided to use Restify instead of Express with this little tutorial video. I could have used I could have used Express. I just wanted to try out Restify. I've been hearing some people in the online talking about it and said it was pretty good. So I wanted to try it out, and it was pretty easy and straightforward, and I didn't have really too many issues getting it up and going. So we're gonna try out Restify here. So I'm new to Restify, so bear with me here. I like using Express. So with Restify, we're going to create an endpoint using Restify, and we're going to create a post endpoint, and that post endpoint is going to take in the email in the body that the user sends to this endpoint, and the endpoint is going to take the email, and we're going to make another call to MailChimp, the MailChimp endpoint, their API, and we need a library. We need some way to make another call, like a server-side call to MailChimp. So we're going to use a library called request. The request library is going to do exactly as it says. It's going to make a request to uh, MailChimp, to their API, and we're gonna what we're gonna do is we're gonna take that email and subscribe them to a list in MailChimp. So in order for you to do that, you need to go into MailChimp and get your API key, get your list ID, and um, I think that's it. There's also URL. Oh, and also there's a data center value that you also need as well. But we'll walk through all of that stuff, later on. So, and I think that's basically it. I will say this project's not using any Redux. I always use Redux in all my projects. Also, this project should not be used in production. It's literally just a little, little side project, just something fun put together, something straightforward, something for people who are not super familiar with React. So just keep that in mind. This is not a production ready thing. I would never put this in production, honestly. Um, I'm just, I just wanted to demonstrate React and just get, people who are not super familiar with React, just get kind of used to it. Um, but yeah, this is not a production ready thing or anything like that. It's just something fun to put together. So okay, I think I think that is about it. If you miss any of the code, it'll be in GitHub. Um, it's on GitHub. You're welcome to pull it and or whatever, play around with the code. I don't care. So, all right. I guess I'll be seeing you in the next video. We'll start coding and start putting this thing together. So, see you in the next video.